What is up, geeks? It's good to see you. My name is Shauna, pronouns she, they.
I'm Joe, pronoun she, they.
Connor, pronouns he, him.
Travis, pronouns he, him.
And Amanda, pronouns she, her.
Thanks so much for joining us here at Supporting Roles. I am with the Illuminated Outcasts after a quite a long, but I think very much needed break. A lot of stuff has happened within our game, so I'm not gonna bore you with me talking about it. We gotta go to Cliff for some Cliff's notes. Cliff, catch us up, get us up to speed.
Last session, we finished our lovely, amazing Feywild adventure where we had plenty of fun, got to kill lots of cool monsters, meet lots of cool people. But we had collected all of our ingredients and resources together and taken them back to the shaman within the village to restore our boy back to his owlbear form. Began to conduct the ritual, and during the ritual required each of us put in our own love and bond with McCree into the ritual itself to bring him back to the state that we knew him as. So through a very tense, dramatic series of D20 rolls, we completed the ritual, gave all the love we had to him, and he came back to us in lovely original owlbear form.
With a little bit of a level up.
With a little bit of a level up. He's a little cooler now.
He's a little smarter. He's got base smarts. And only a -1 to his charisma now, which is awesome because he's grown up a bit.
Yeah.
And then we made our way back into the material plane, opened up a nice portal for us, got our way out. Some creepy little shit tried to follow us. It got kicked in the face, back into the portal. And then we proceeded to destroy the obelisk on the other side to close the portal and hopefully lock whatever it was on the other side.
Maybe that's a good
It from
thing.
getting through
Maybe
this
it's
time,
not a
but
good
who
thing.
knows about the future?
And maybe it worked and maybe it didn't. We don't know.
There's a lot of maybes up there. Yes, you did bring a new friend with you that was allowed to come through to the other
Newberry
side.
came with us. We took Newberry.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they wanted to see the material plane, so
We love
are
them.
offering whatever they want to do to them.
Yes. And you had found out that it was roughly 14 days since your jump of
Hey,
being
it's better
in the
than 10
Feywild.
years.
It is way better than 10
Thank
years. You guys
you.
got a little lucky on that roll. But as you have made it into the material plane once again, leaving the Feywild behind, along with some of its more creepier things that try to sneak in with you, you have your owlbear, McCree, back in his form. You have Newberry, the Eladrin, here with you outside of Fvenhaven. And I think what we're going to do is just kind of move into, we'll say, probably like a 2-week downtime. You can go anywhere. You have already been within Midlendell, within this country. But right now you are outside Fvenhaven. It is the hometown of Cliff. So let's start it off. Let's start our downtime off here, and then we can see where we move next.
Awesome.
Is there anything that you guys would like to do while you are here in Fvenhaven?
Go ahead, Cliff.
Sure. I was gonna say I'd like to start by giving Newberry like a brief tour of everything generally that there is to see. I know that there's not a whole lot, but
it's an extremely small town. Yes.
Cliff shows him everything that would be cool, whether or not it's like actually something of note. If Cliff likes it, Newberry gets to see it.
Amazing. Newberry follows you around, checking out the way mortals tend to live within these weird establishments, and your architecture being vastly different from what they know. they take in a lot of what you're saying, immediately immersed and just so happy to feast visually on your town as well as auditorily with what you are explaining to them. They take in everything that you say, ask some fairly good questions, but also some possibly not so appropriate questions that a Fae might ask or an Eladrin might ask. When you bring them over to the Brighton Hiding, this giant food hall that is open, there's no doors set to this thing. It's sort of middle of the day, and Desuna and Venmir are in here, cleaning up, making sure that things are going as smoothly as possible within this area. Newberry immediately clocks the young boy, greenish skin, known here as the Fire Guardian. But you guys know better as more of an artist, sort of this teenage looking boy. Newberry sees them, just drops everything that you're saying, completely ignores you, Cliff, and goes, wait, and walks straight up to Venmir. How did you didn't say that there was a Eladrin here.
Not a whole lot. Venmir's kind of all we got for now.
Venmir looks around and goes, huh?
Venmir, meet Newberry. They're super cool. We just recently got the chance to meet them. And Newberry, meet Venmir.
I mean, it's a pleasure to meet you. You look like you're in a pleasant state. And there's this awkward moment where Venmir's sort of looking around like, what is happening? You can tell without even needing any sort of role, you can tell that Venmir has no idea what is being said. What
I know what all these words
Newberry
mean
means
individually, but beyond that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That awkward moment when you find out the race you think you are isn't the race you think you are.
Exactly. And
It's all right, kiddo.
Asamar, who's she?
We've all been
Right?
there before
Yeah,
once or
right?
twice, you know?
That's a different character.
Yeah, that's a different
Newberry
character.
looks at Venmir and goes, you seem to be in a happy state. You're green, you're bright, you're springy. Is this... does he not speak common?
He does speak common. I don't think he quite understands. This seems a bit new to him.
Oh, you're a Eladrin. And Venmir just
That's what
goes,
that means.
okay. It's nice to meet you, I guess. I am gonna go check on the fire. And just sort of walks away from this conversation, having been
Coincidence right next to the fireplace.
Cliff.
I'll proceed to follow Venmir off to the fire and get a nice private chat with him eventually.
Cool. Great. We can pan right with you
Lovely.
over to Venmir then. They sort of grab a stoker and start like poking at some of the logs within this giant hearth that fills a lot of one side of the room and is what basically keeps this whole huge hall in this beautiful bright warmth. He clocks that you've walked over with him and goes, Sorry. I
They're from the Feywilds. It's a whole thing. I'll tell you about it in a second, but don't worry. The whole communication thing comes a little less easy to them than normal.
Okay. All right.
How things go here? I know the last time we spoke, things were in a lot more of a panicked manner. I just wanted to make sure that everything's okay and that.
Well, and you guys took off pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, as you can see, and I'll point over my shoulder. I'm sure McCree and Fvenhaven playing together or sitting next to Kara's side or something. Got him back, which is good.
I want to apologize again. I feel like that's kind of my fault. I know that you guys had asked me to watch him, and I did, and I just figured, he needed. Being's got to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. It happens to everybody. But I didn't realize, and I'm sorry.
There's a whole lot of things that we could have done better too. It's nobody in the town's fault. It's not his fault. It's not really ours. Can't stop people from doing what they want.
Yeah.
Especially when we weren't there to stop it. But we tracked him down, got him back, ended up stranded in the Feywilds for a bit. Tonight over dinner, I'll tell you all the stories of there. It's beautiful.
You guys are for sure gonna get the bread tonight. I can tell. One more thing, and he reaches into a sort of satchel that he carries on his side, and pulls out a sketchbook, and goes, "I've started it, but it's not finished yet." And flips a few pages and kind of looks over, makes sure nobody's watching or whatever, and shows you what is just small rough sketches of your whole group, something that you had commissioned him to do. It's all within the same piece, and it looks like you guys are cresting over a hill, possibly the one of the small hills around Fvenhaven. But there's not big detail to it yet. Think stick figure-esque sort of idea.
Sure.
Of just kind of grabbing composition. They look really nervous about showing you.
I'll take a nice look over it. Cliff's got a big wide smile on his face, and then I'll hand it back. It looks great. Honestly, I think it's kind of better that it's not finished right now, because I couldn't even make it worth your while if it was. And the empty coin pouch with flies and dust buzzing out of it.
Moths.
Cliff, as you go to hand the sketchbook back, can you make me an acrobatics check with disadvantage, please?
Anytime, happily so.
Here we go.
That's a grand total of 7.
7. As you hand this over with your right hand towards Venmir, there's a twinge as one of your curses sort of activates. You know this curse to make you a little more klutzy than you'd like. And as that happens, the sketchbook kind of falls out of your hand. Let's see if our friend can absolutely not. That's a 3. Goes to try and grab it as it is falling to the ground. It falls down onto the floor, not into the fire, don't worry. Onto the floor, but as it falls onto the floor, it kind of falls open onto a page. And Cliff, you see yourself on the page. This one has been rendered and done. It's sort of a side profile of you within your armaments, and it looks like you're looking at a cloth in your hand, and you sort of have this pensive look on your face. Venmir goes, and grabs the sketchbook, shuts it really quickly, and puts it back in his satchel. I gotta continue with this.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. I can't wait to hear about the adventure, though.
Sure thing.
Cool. They go off and be angsty teenager. And
Talented and gotta get out of this small town.
Gotta get this big city.
You tell tales that night of the things that you had seen and things that had happened within the Feywilds. My question, because you know that every night the whole of Fvenhaven comes into the hall and everybody states what they're proud of for that day. How much of the tales and the adventures that you've experienced recently do you tell this town?
Unless anybody has any objections, Cliff is willing to just, again, put it all out there. But I, again, will also refer to my party for this decision.
Kara would not come up with this suggestion, but having each of us share our favorite tale of our journey. And each of us have a go of our favorite tale of the journey.
I like that.
Like on a different day each?
No, like each of us for that night.
Gotcha.
So that it's all at once, because it's the one thing from the journey that they're either most proud of, or that's the happiest.
I suppose the question that I'm asking is if anything is being omitted.
That's what I was
deliberately
going to get to. GS is normally and naturally of the mind to be like, just tell the whole story because it's fun and it's great. But she's getting a little more savvy, and she would try and think, is there anything that we should omit for our safety, for the safety of the people of Fvenhaven? Better if they don't know these things. And
the details of what happened are a mess to know, but in the Feywild, I don't think we have an issue with that.
And are there any things from the Feywild that would be considered sacred to keep secret and would be made profane if we shared those secrets? And I would probably ask Newberry for their counsel on that specific arena. But the rest of it, I would ask the party, is there anything we think that could bring danger to Fvenhaven? Or to us if we shared it?
At the very least, I want to make clear that the obelisks might be a point of concern. I don't know if there's any other nearby, but the broken one should at least be kept an eye on.
Yeah. And that's what brought the Abishai.
And anything else, theoretically.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I mean, we just, went and picked some ingredients off of a couple trees and did a cool maze thing. Was any of that really that secret?
About a scary, creepy creature that, might terrify the children in the room, but go for it.
Well, I mean, the scary creature, we don't have to,
that's all.
I mean, I'm saying Amanda might omit some of that part.
Defeated, that won't bother you.
There was also, it depends on who's telling it and how they're telling it, because it could sound real freaky at one point, depending on how it's described. So,
the tale of the Campestri and the frog people are super fun and should absolutely be told.
Absolutely.
Fevana would focus on either that or the court when we got to the court, because she found that really amusing.
Absolutely. And of course, bringing McCree back.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
While
If you viewers want to watch that, please go back and watch it because
Yes,
it's been
go,
a while.
go
and
back and
trust
watch
me,
the
it's much
POV
better in
and the
live action.
VOD. Go watch the VOD.
you lot cast exposition.
Yes.
Big time.
And
Highest level we can.
are able to.
I would totally. Excuse me. I would invite Newberry to tell their story of their first day in Fvenhaven.
I love that. Definitely talking about all of the different architecture and whatnot within the area, and speaking with a fellow Eladrin, and feeling like they're at home because, you know, there's they're not the only one that looks the way they do. You are able to definitely win the bread, as is custom for the day, and you're able to finish dinner and whatnot. At the end of this, Desuna, who is kind of acting head of the town. There is a baron of the town, but we usually don't hear from them. So the acting head of the town, Desuna, who runs this Bright in Hiding, comes over to you lot. People moving back home to their homes within the evening, talking with each other. She moves over and goes, "Quite the tale. A little nerve-wracking, but quite the tale. I should let you know. Your horses made it back.
Oh, yay!
Would you like to see them?"
Yes,
please.
please.
Savannah's already run out the door.
Savannah's gone. McCree's on her
Yeah.
heels.
Yeah.
McCree's on her
McCree
back.
is like
Yeah.
grabbed a bunch of food from plates that have been left and just tramples across these long tables to catch up with Ivana and jump onto her back as you guys run out. You're able to go see all of your horses. Can you do me a favor?
Apocalypse.
Can you do me a favor for every horse that you have? So I got Cliff, I don't think you need to roll this one.
I sure don't.
But for every horse that we have, that one that is your horse, I would like a survival check from you, please. This is going to decide how they look in right now.
Oh.
We
No
got
natural
this, baby.
ones.
We
No
got this,
natural
Oh,
ones.
it's a
baby.
natural one.
Ooh, 20.
Oh!
That's a natural one, guys. That's a nat one.
No.
This dice was rolling so well.
So I got a
Alright, it's
natural
Club.
19
Club's
on the dice for 27.
27. Okay, so
Poor Thevana's horse.
Apocalypse and
Club.
Iroh doing
That's fine.
great as you come in. Club, on the other hand,
No.
interesting.
Oh.
Oh no.
Interesting. We need a reshoeing right now.
Yeah.
If that's
okay,
all we get from a nat one, we're doing okay.
I know. We need more than that.
No, it seems like Club 1 is looking quite malnourished, and 2 has some kind of break or sprain that is happening to one of their back legs. Desuna looks over at you guys and goes, yeah, they sort of hobbled in. They've been sleeping quite a lot, and we've tried to do what we can in helping, but the healing is slow.
Cliff?
I can see
Devon
what
is
I
like,
can do.
I assume McCree maybe had an apple. Like she grabs it from him.
Yeah.
And is, like, trying to, yeah.
I'm
Share.
just gonna like pat Cliff on the back, or I'm gonna find exactly where his animal handling tattoo is, and I'm just going to just give it a tiny little, not even a massage, just like a little squeeze.
You
And
know
I'm gonna
that's
give
his.
it-
You know that's on his butt, right?
a little
Yeah, it's like
squeeze on his
high
Even better.
back thigh. It's pretty close
Yeah.
to
High,
butt.
high back thigh. Yeah,
Little
it's
squeeze
real
right
close
there.
to his butt.
little squeeze right there, and I'm
All
just gonna
right.
give him a kiss on the cheek, and I'm gonna say, breathe slow. You've got this. It's okay. There's nothing to be scared of, and there's no reason they should be afraid of you. Okay? So just breathe slow, approach slow. You've absolutely got this. Kiss on the cheek, bardic inspiration.
You see, Cliff jumps a little at first when you give him a squeeze on the booty, and then settles into ease and nods along and kind of takes this deep breath in before he begins to approach Club.
Cool. Before you begin, as you are approaching Club, can you make me a medicine check, please?
Sure can.
And you've got a
Devon's gonna-
D8 bardic inspiration for whenever you need it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll roll the D8.
I was gonna say Thema is keeping Club's, like she's on the side and keeping his head like held with the bridle so that he can't nip, and
Great.
is just kind of ready to push Cliff out of the way if she has to. But she knows how this normally goes, but at the same time, something's got to be done.
Okay. And
I
Kara,
add the
you had
D8.
your hand raised.
I'm double checking a spell real quick.
Okay.
Because this might not help. Yeah,
Okay.
the thing I'm looking for isn't gonna help. So never mind.
Okay,
Okay.
no
I'm
worries.
just trying to
Cliff?
help keep the animal as calm as
Added my
possible.
bardic inspiration D8. Rolled the D20. Natural 1 for the result, but for a total of 18.
Okay.
When it comes to medicine.
Yes,
Correct.
total of 18, just natural 1 for the result of the
Let's
die.
hope that
however
the
you wanna play it.
natural one doesn't continue over into what you have to do next.
Two natural ones in a row.
Love
I
it.
know, you guys are rolling. Woo!
Real
Um,
great, guys.
Yeah.
This
So,
reads. This tracks.
It's fine. You're
as
fine.
you are looking at the leg, it does seem like it's been placed back together. They seem to have like splinted the leg itself. However, it's wrapped right now, so it's hard to tell what else is going on with that. And you are feeling that apprehension kind of build in, and that anxiety sort of build in your body as you approach this creature. You know that you and creatures, because of another curse that you have collected, don't really get along sometimes. As you now begin to approach Club, what do you do?
Unless the results of my roll previously had changed this, I will approach softly. One hand on my sash, the other hand just up and out in a real calming, and this is the first part of me that you can make contact with, sort of deal. Like, I'm not trying to put as much distance as possible. As I approach that toothless style handout, I will say, Club, I know we've had our differences, but I'm here to help. Just take things nice and slow. And as I do that, I will, if he allows me, touch onto his snout and then cast Calm Emotions on the both of us.
Okay.
Smart. I like it.
Very nice.
Okay. Please roll me an animal handling check with disadvantage.
Sure.
That's the first roll.
He
Gonna
doesn't get
be
anything from
straight
me.
from us helping. Trying
I mean,
to
I'm
support Paul?
holding like
Because it's the
Kara and
curse?
Devon are.
Because it's the curse,
Okay.
no. But your
Okay.
next thing might help.
A 12.
I imagine Kara and Thavon are
12.
on either side of
Yeah.
Club, like keeping him.
You can see that there is sort of like a shift from the horse as he approaches, but is able to touch the snout of Club and is going to cast Calm Emotions. As you cast Calm Emotions, you can feel a sort of almost lethargy within the muscles of the horse as you bring them down into more of a chill state. From here, what's the plan?
I will slowly, gently move my hand over and just give the horse some scritches. Real calm and passive-like. Now, Club, it looks like on the way back from wherever we left you, you got hurt a little. That's okay, accidents happen. So I'm here to fix that. As long as you're okay with that, I'll try to make you better, okay? And then give him a couple more scratches. And then lean in with my other hand, if he's receptive, and place that to the other side of the face. And as I do so, I will, under my breath, I know you said you'd help me, but what about with the small stuff? Just enough to get Thave on his horse back and walking? Think you could help? And then I'll put that prayer into my hands. And if he is willing, I will use my Channel Divinity Preserve Life.
Ooh.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
All it does functionally is restores 40 HP to any one creature.
How much?
40.
40. Would you roll a d20,
Sure.
straight roll with your spellcasting modifier, please?
Sure. I can absolutely do that.
So wisdom.
15.
15. Not too bad. You cast this channel divinity, feel the life move into this horse. Everyone else here can see like a small light that comes from the palms of Cliff's hands, something that you've seen before. But the light is not bright, but not as bright as you've seen from him before. Within this, I'm going to say that due to curses working against you, as well as everything else, the horse, it gets 20 of those hit points back instead of 40. So it's not, that oomph isn't there for whatever reason. Go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Sure.
And actually, Cliff, you can roll an insight. Anybody else here can roll me either medicine or animal handling.
10.
11.
Animal handling. Oh, that's good. 17.
Hey, that's pretty decent.
6.
Okay. Thavana, from where
Jess is
you're
still watching his ass.
It's a nice one, what can I say?
I'm not. Just saying, it's a 6. You're a little distracted.
Fvenhaven, from the side that you're on of Club, and whereas everybody else is looking at the light coming from Cliff's hands, you look down at the leg. There is light that kind of forms underneath the wrappings of this, but as the light sort of dims, you can see there's sort of like whitish yellow to discoloration to the leg that is sort of peeking out from the wrappings and the splint that they had put on earlier.
I'm assume there's some kind of bridle on him. That's how we're keeping his head in control. I'm literally just gonna hand that to McCree, like not even thinking about it. He's big enough. He's fine. And I'm gonna go over and start to just carefully peel back the bandages.
As you peel back the bandages, trigger warning for people who don't like squicky medical stuff. As you peel back bandages, there is infection going on. There's like pus and whatnot that is seeping out from where the wound was. There's no more wound there.
Yeah,
but
it's like this healing forced it all out, or does it still look like it's
it looks like
infected?
It's still infected underneath, that like most of that got pushed out in a way that could be cleaned, but there is some kind of infection that is still within that the channel divinity wasn't able to.
I've got a theoretical way to deal with this. I can try at least to see if it works.
I also have something that will work.
I've honestly
Yeah, me
started just
too.
cleaning away what's on, just gently.
In this moment, as the light radiates off of Cliff's hands, I will slowly guide my hands over and across, petting along his side, and then really gently and slowly down towards the leg, and try to focus and concentrate that healing energy into something a little more pointed rather than just the creature itself. Try to heal the leg. And when down there, I will expend 5 points of lay on hands to remove any disease or infection causing or hurting a creature.
As you sort of focus more intentionally on the problem that you're seeing here, and you have your hand out but up. It's sort of mirrored on the sash, that open hand, the symbol of Torm that sits on your sash, sort of mirroring in a like above and below sort of thing, as they both kind of glow for a second. The light sort of changes to a very like cool tone. It almost becomes bluish in a way. And as you pull back, I would like you to make a dexterity save with advantage.
Anytime.
I'm right next to him.
With advantage.
With
Yeah.
advantage.
Yes, with advantage. That will be a natural 20.
Nice.
Yes.
You got this.
Yes.
Thank
Um,
God.
Good
You
job.
bring your hand away, and every single one of you on alert can see the change within the eye of the horse. It sort of rears and backs a little bit, the leg now looking solid, good, but there is a fear that comes over them for a moment.
Whoa.
Everybody sort of holds on. Cliff you're able to back and move out of the way as Fvenhaven sort of pushes you a little bit, pushes you back, and you fall into GS's arms. Kara like holding on the other side, and even McCree grabbing onto the bridle, making sure this horse doesn't move. You're able to get Cliff out of the way before anything were to happen. The horse club kind of shakes a little bit and sort of slowly gets up onto all of their legs, making McCree sort of go and just like pull up and away. He's sort of like dangling there looking at this horse. But Club seems to be okay. They seem a little hesitant on their legs right now. Probably a few days of just rest and relaxation will be able to be right as rain. Cliff.
When I make that dex save, do I feel anything different about myself?
With that dex save, you don't feel, you feel like that horse should have come up and nipped you.
Mm-hmm.
It was the help of your party that made it so that you move out of the way. Even with that natural 20, there is a moment of like, that would have gone really bad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel anything change or move or activate.
Okay, cool.
When it comes to your body.
Cliff will hear me whisper in his ear, "You just saved that horse's life."
I'll look back towards GS and give her a slight nod. Damn right I did. And then
damn right you did. And I pat his butt right where his little
get him up
is.
Definitely got those slight like hazy shades of red on his cheeks now.
Cliff, after doing this and helping out this horse and having your party help you out, and obviously having your girlfriend just sort of smack you on the tush
in front of
everybody. How are you feeling?
Relieved more than anything. It's a big sigh off of him to be like, cool, horse is good and nobody was hurt in the incident. Everything's okay.
Perfect. Excellent. Is there anything more as days pass here in Fvenhaven? GS.
I'd like to spend a little bit of time every day with Newberry, preparing them for what they can expect culturally. I'm not specifically trying to teach them how to be socially appropriate, because that's a big load of BS. But teaching them what they can at the very least expect from the cultures of the different places around them, so they can be more prepared to make their own decisions for how they want to present themselves.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can you roll me a d6, please?
Ooh, a 6. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where are my 6s? Here are my 6s. Nope, those are 8s. These are 6s. A 4.
A 4. So, you continue with this for quite some time, and probably getting close to a week. After a week, Newberry, whose demeanor has changed, they're giving off that like spring look with the beautiful mint green hair coloring and the earring that
the bubbles
causes bubbles to follow them wherever they go.
You're looking springy and bubbly today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to say thank you for helping me understand all of these mortals, and what they tend to do. And I know that it's very difficult for me to understand their emotions and demeanor since they aren't wearing it.
That tends to be true for a lot of us. We don't understand each other's emotions very often either.
Well, I was just planning on asking.
That is great. Just know that the level of familiarity you have with the person is important when it comes to how invasive of a question it is. Intimate questions are like roots growing deep.
Yes.
Right? And so you need to surface a lot of it is based on how much time you've known them, and I know time is an interesting concept for you.
Yeah, you lot like points over in the direction of where the sun is, but doesn't obviously look at it, and goes, "This is strange. I don't like it."
Have you
It's
started
hot
to?
and-
I know the
Yes.
sun exists and
I'm angry
some-
about it.
Yeah. Have you started to notice the patterns?
Yes, that you were
Excellent.
telling me, and then you were saying that over the course of time, a bunch of those together create a season, which is what
I know.
I had, but it's a different sort of thing. I just plan on going up to someone and saying, "How are you? How are you today?"
How are you today? Perfect. That is a perfect question. It's
Good. Excellent.
Those are shallow. That's a shallow root question. It's perfect.
Great.
It's not too
Then-
invasive.
Great. I will be I will be doing that. And continues
Just
to like
know that not everyone's honest in their answer. Most of the time, the socially appropriate thing to say is, "I'm great," even when they're not. But if they say they're great, you're allowed to operate under the assumption that they are.
okay. And
It's very
for
complicated,
the
and I'm
rest
sorry.
of that day, all you hear from Newberry is them walking up to random people within the town and go, "How are you doing? Are you good today? Are you angry?
Oh, boy.
Is this good? How do you feel today?" And just
Can we borrow from Dimension 20 and like find
Bug
that
everybody.
like, the comprehend subtext spell?
Yes.
Newberry's got to figure this out themselves, you know.
Absolutely. This is
but
like
after-
the definition of neurodivergency, friends.
After about a day of this,
Costs a lot of resources to cast.
they come up to you and go, "I think I understand how this is going." And everyone seemed good and fine within talking to me about what and how they were feeling. So I think I'm good. Are you going to be back here?
What do you mean? Back here.
If I were to come back here, you would be here?
We move. We move like
Oh!
the sun moves. So we're going to stay here for a bit, but then I think the plan is for us to go somewhere else.
I see. All right. Well, I suppose if you need me, you know how to get a hold of me, right?
Do
Can you
do
get a
we?
hold of-
Do we? I, the player, ask the DM.
Do any of you have any sort of messaging
Oh,
device or
like
spell?
Do we have a sending stone?
Hey, you guys!
Like we had one.
You just yell, "Ah!"
Hey,
I
you
love
guys.
not having to
I
be the
have
heavy
message.
thinker of the group.
I
Just
have
a-
message. Do I have?
Message.
I have sending. I have
Oh,
sending.
awesome.
Yes.
Great.
Yay!
So-
No, that would have come in handy.
I have animal messenger is what I have.
I see.
Oh,
So
So
they
that-
have to
I
be
just
within a
got a
certain
level up, which
radius.
is why I
and
have it.
things.
yeah, no, that's what I figured. That's why I was
Living it.
making the joke. I was like,
Yeah.
that
Nice
would have been
before.
helpful.
Right. Yeah.
So you can get a hold of me then.
Yes. Yes, we can. Can
Great.
you get a hold of us?
No, but if you can get a hold
Just
of
in
me, that works out
response.
fine.
Okay. Great.
All right.
And before you go,
Huh?
they're actually mortals do kind of show their seasons on their faces. And I'm just going to take a little bit of time to discuss body language and facial expressions.
Cool.
And these are clues that, are not always 100% true, but, this is like, it's a falling leaf, and so you can tend to think that it's more like fall, etc.
Cool. Newberry takes in the information that you give them. Okay, good. And goes, oh, that's helpful. Every
mortal, just like every plant, is different. So you need to learn different people's signs and symbols.
As you explain that, Newberry goes, yes. So it's like how Kara looks like winter, but isn't winter when they speak?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
And I usually look pretty summery, even if I'm hiding a winter down deep inside.
Right.
Yeah.
And how Cliff looks very spring when he's speaking to you, but not necessarily when he's speaking to Fvenhaven.
Nail on the goddamn head, Newberry. You got it. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Great. All right. Well, if you need me, or I don't know, just want to talk, I suppose you know where to find me.
All right. Wander and pay attention to people's behaviors, because it's gonna be different everywhere. Every garden has different rules.
Understood.
I'm excited for your adventure.
If I see any more of those obelisks, I'll let you know. Well, I suppose I'm not going to let you know. I suppose
make
you have
note
to
of
let
it.
Me know.
Make note of it. We'll be in contact
yes.
regularly.
Fantastic.
Every couple of suns.
Sure.
Yeah. Once or twice a moon cycle, which you haven't experienced a full moon cycle here yet, but you will.
All right.
Okay.
Excellent. Walks up and goes to the rest of the group and goes, well, I'm off. So, here is a leaf for you and a rock for you, and if you would like this part of an acorn, and I have this little nut. McCree? And McCree kind of goes, and just sort of takes the nut and like walks away a little bit. Newberry looks at the lot of you and goes, again, thank you so much for your help. I wouldn't have been able to get over here without you, and I mean, this is all I've ever really wanted, was to be able to see the material plane. So, stay springy.
You stay good, Newberry.
I grab an old lute string and I pull it taut and I give it a little ding, springy, and put out your hand, and I just tie bracelet around.
Very nice.
Metal from the earth.
Fvenhaven.
I pull out one of the packs of beef jerky that Fvenhaven consistently has, which she has replenished, I assume, at this point, and just goes, here, and puts it, like, takes his hand, puts it in his hand. Just trust me, it's useful.
Meat?
I don't know. She'll know.
Oh no!
Thank you. And they sort of take it and put it within one of the pouches they have. McCree automatically goes,
I have more. So do you. Well, go ask him for a piece then.
Sort of waddles over there, gets up on two legs and goes, Bridget? And Newberry goes, sure.
Non-hoof beasts tend to love this.
Here. And sort of drops it into McCree's mouth.
Ow.
And
Dex
just
save.
Yeah.
he sort of like waddles still on 2 feet back towards you guys with this like big piece of jerky in his mouth. All right. That's me off then.
All right.
Be well.
And
May your
you
survival
watch
be
them,
long.
and the bubbles trail as they move up hills and move sort of in a northwestern direction away from Fvenhaven. Anything else you would like to do within Fvenhaven? As we're moving into probably about almost a week of being here.
During the week of being here, one of the
Yes.
things I was planning on doing was getting a hold of an herbalism kit, if I can.
Yeah. Let's check it out. Rudimentary herbalism.
I just need
kit.
the basics.
Yeah. You're able to get that. It's gonna cost you like 1 silver. Nothing
Okay.
big here.
That's fine. I give
Excellent.
them the silver.
Great.
So I'm gonna do that, and in between playing with McCree and just enjoying the time of being in Fvenhaven, I also want to work with Club and the other horses of getting them back to sturdy health and riding conditions, all that jazz. But I also want to work on that herbalism kit and prepare the spell Goodberry to experiment
Nice.
making Goodberry juice bombs.
I love it.
That's
Love
just
it.
a specific set of hit points that you get. I'm gonna start playing around with that, and
Okay.
that's something that me and you, DM, can discuss over time. But this is we're starting to put efforts to playing around with
Excellent.
this.
Excellent. I love that. Can you give me an investigation check? Really quick?
Sure. That's a 4.
Okay. You're able to, within the herbalism kit, have a few good berries here.
Oh, I prepared the spell. I can make the spell.
Got it.
I can
Yes.
make them.
But you, as soon as you like crush and try to juicify said things, you're noticing that it's not holding on to its potency. So you're probably gonna have to be mixing it with other things in order to be able to get that to have any sort of shelf life, so to speak.
Okay. I'll experiment with the material plane stuff first before I
Perfect.
dip into our Feywild supply, because that's limited.
Fair enough. I like it. Anybody else?
Small thing for Cliff.
Mhm.
Over the course of that week, he would have gotten some like flowers, a couple floral arrangements from some folks in town, and then as the days have gone on in not Cliffhaven, my bad. As the
Dang.
days have gone on in Fvenhaven, you guys have seen Cliff grow ever so slightly, a little more distracted day by day. Slightly paler a little bit day by day. Nothing too concerning, but definitely does look tired as the week moves on. Towards the end of the week, he would probably early one morning wake up and invite GS to follow him.
Through the week, I've been like ridiculously adorable with Cliff. GS has totally leaned into practically full domesticity. She grew up in a small town. This is also a small town. She'd be going around helping people to cook and this and that and whatever. And every moment she had, she would be adorable with Cliff. She would embarrass him by kissing him on the cheek in public, squeezing his butt, all those different little things, and just calling him pet names. And try and gauge his embarrassment level to see if she's crossed a line or if it's just
It's never like it's crossing the line. It's always
embarrassment.
like cute embarrassed, but
Mhm.
Cliff
Cool.
is
Good.
thoroughly happy and reciprocates.
Awesome. And although GS is usually not much of a morning person, she can get the sense that this is an important thing, and she will wake up with Cliff and kind of stretch and follow him where he's going.
All right. Cliff will guide through the town and up onto a small hill that they have that's just on the outskirts of town. A cemetery. And holding two like floral bouquets under one arm, will take your hand with the other. And before guiding you in, if there's any uncomfortability here, just let me know. But I've done this alone long enough that I don't want to do it again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just having you there would be nice.
I'm here.
And with that, he guides her in, and the first place that he will stop is a pair of tombstones, laying next to one another. Dahlia and Roy Pearson. He will kneel down in front of both of them and let you stand where you'd like to for your most comfort, whether that's right at his side or
Right next
off a
to him.
distance, whatever you prefer.
Right next to him.
And he will place one of the floral arrangements in between the two headstones. These two, unfortunately, I didn't ever get to know a whole lot about them. My mom, she passed when I was really little, and Dad wasn't far behind. I always heard good things about them in town. Roy was a hard worker. Dahlia was polite, but I was barely 2 when it was all over, so not a lot of it sticks.
I'm going to take a moment and look in his eyes with just comfort and pride. Give his hand a squeeze. And I'm going to look down at where the bouquet lies between them. I'm going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Pearson, my name is Akasha, and I have the pleasure of being very close with your son. It is a pleasure to meet you both. And I want the two of you to know that you should be nothing but proud of your boy. And that it looks like the best parts of you, from what he says, went to him.
Cliff, as GS grabbed your hand and gave it a squeeze and turns to speak to these headstones, what she's saying you can hear, but it's sort of underwater a little bit in a weird way. And that squeeze that she gave to your hand is echoed over your clavicle as it kind of... I need you to make a wisdom save for me, please.
Oh no.
It's okay, guys. I'm really good at those. 27.
27. It twinges for a second as one of your curses activates a little bit. You... Can I sound?
Yep.
You take 6 points of psychic damage.
Understood.
Oh my god.
Um,
This is reminding me of like the Way of Kings books. I forget the name of the second one, but when like Dalinar can't remember his wife, and I'm like, oh my god!
It sort of squeezes. It gives that tight feeling for a moment, and you kind of come back to this moment and do actually hear GS finish what she's saying of being proud of their son and that their best attributes were passed on to him.
I'll place a hand on each of their tombstones and give a silent prayer to each of them, and rise to my feet and still squeezing onto GS's hand. Harder than just reassurance or comfort, but softer than like fear or pain. I'll look back down and speaking to GS. These people brought me here, but and I'll look down to the second bouquet. This is for the man who raised me. So we're off to go see him next. And I'll guide her back through to a nice big tombstone that has, it's not like intricate detail, but it is more detailed than the rest of them. It's got a couple slight additions to it that make it a little more regal looking, if that's a way to put it. But still very simplistic. And the tombstone there reads Theron Amakir.
As you guys move up towards this headstone here, this one is under the shade of a tree, but as you move closer, you can see any sort of leaves or whatnot that would have fallen and stayed on this plot has been carefully moved away and off of it as you guys approach.
As Cliff gets closer, you're able to see that his footsteps are heavier. That pale in his face grows a little lighter as he once again kneels down in front of this headstone and places the floral arrangement at the foot of it. And takes just a big, deep breath in and out.
I'll match his breathing.
Back when I was a boy, my parents passed, and somebody needed to look after me. So that was Theron. Visuna is what he used to be. The way that she watches over the town he did. And the way that she organized simple things, from the distribution of the bread to complex things like the labor of the town. It was all him. And when I was a kid, I did similar to what Venmir does. Tended the fire, helped the people, did my best to help Theron. I'll reach out and place one hand over the stone, and you're able to see that when Cliff's hand reaches out, it's got this tremble to it as he places it on top of the headstone. Theron was always there for me. He taught me how to speak and walk and tell stories. So when he grew sick, I made it my job to try to see if I could help him back. It led to me leaving for Riverine, meeting Torm, my connection to the Divine, and back here to help him. I'll pull down my shirt a little bit just to show off that strain of that big stalk of wheat that seems to be withering at its ends. There was a witch that cursed him, and that's why he began to grow ill. And so when I met Torm, and he told me that he could lift that curse, well, that's where it all started. And as time went on, he got better and passed much later due to just natural old age. But he had a good life. But when he passed, it was that night that I got my second curse. And Cliff pulls down on his other clavicle. You can see a big iron, like stake that's wrapped in thorns around it on that one. Right now, it looks almost as if the iron stake is being pierced into his skin and into him. The curse of famine is what I hold to remember Theron by in this place. And the curse of trauma is what makes sure that I don't dwell on it. You're able to see that needle, or that not needle, that stake is driven a little further in.
Yeah. Can you make me another wisdom save with disadvantage, please?
Absolutely. Or don't roll. That's cool too, D&D Beyond.
Come on.
So good at this now.
Let me try this whole disadvantage thing again, because that was a charisma save. Love it.
Oh, okay.
With disadvantage, that's 2 natural 20s.
Ooh.
Really?
Mm-hmm. For a total of 29.
Let's go.
The
Really?
dice gods have spoken.
Wow.
I am shocked. That is a 1 in 400. Okay.
Damn.
Cool.
That's crazy.
That is amazing.
Damn.
Nice.
Cool. What you see, both of you, within this moment, is when he pulls down and away, and you can see this stake with thorns wrapped around it that is kind of looking, it has that perspective of looking like it's being pushed into his body. When he speaks of this and speaks their names, it's sort of the thorns around it sort of twist and writhe, and it almost looks like this tattoo is being pushed further into his body. And then something strange happens. From one of those thorns comes up for a moment and sprouts a rose similar to the one that's on your arm. It holds up for a second. And when you usually have a moment of speaking about them, it's met with a searing pain in your head and their names sometimes catching in your throat, that it is hard to physically speak about them. But in this moment, as that small rose blooms for a second, there's no pain within your head. As you've shared this with GS, the petals move and fall away, and it becomes one of those thorns again. Cliff, can you roll me either an investigation check or an insight check with disadvantage?
I'll take insight with disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeesh. 7?
7. It's never done this before. You've always been met. You know what it means when this curse activates. It's not like the other ones where it causes you to slip up or stammer or whatnot. This is usually met with pain in your head, physical pain that makes you not want to talk or speak of it again. And the fact that you aren't racked with that migraine that lives afterwards is flummoxed you.
You're able to see that as that flower blooms and grows, it's like he pays attention to it, but the focus is for sure split. That grip on your hand, firm in nature, grows a little stronger, a little more reassuring.
I look at the tattoo, the brand, whatever it is, kind of move, and oh my, Cliff, are you what the hell? Did something just happen?
I'll look towards the headstone. And then speaking to it. Damn magic, Dad. There's just so much I don't know yet.
I'm gonna squeeze his hand real quick, in the way that it's like I'm gonna let go for a second, and I am going to go around to the side of the headstone and get really close to it. And my intention is to not necessarily be heard by Cliff. If he overhears, that's fine, but I'm intentionally not involving him in this. Gonna introduce myself to him much in the way that I did to his birth parents. Again, telling him that my name is Akasha. And then I'm going to say, Cliff is the best man that I know. He suffers so much, and he never lets anyone see it. I can only guess that you were much of the same type of person. And I can only imagine that you would not be totally happy to hear that that's how he lives his life. That you would want better for him. I don't know what kind of power you have wherever you are. But if there's anyone in this world who deserves blessing over blessing over blessing, it's your son. I'll do what I can. Thank you for doing what you have done. And then I'm just going to back up, look at Cliff again, and pull down his shirt where the rose was. Is it still there?
No, it is. In a flash, it sort of grew up, made a rose, and withered within moments, and is now back into looking like a little thorn coming off of the stake.
I am going to take his hand, and in a burst of inspiration, I'm going to look over at the headstone and say, "Will you pardon us for just a moment, sir?" And I'm going to tear off with him, just past the bounds of the graveyard to a tree. And I'm not going to say a word, but I'm going to look at him. I'm going to pull down the shirt again, where the thorn tattoo is, and I'm going to kiss it. And then I'm going to find the other tattoo that I could see on his chest from before, from his birth parents.
They lie on the collarbones or the clavicles.
So I pull it in one direction, then I pull it in the other direction, and I gently kiss that. And then I just take a moment to look in Cliff's eyes. Just a moment to ask for consent as I begin to take his shirt off.
What? Okay.
I'll follow suit, I guess.
And I start
Not
gently
where I
and
thought this was
slowly
going.
kissing every
Yo.
single curse tattoo that I see.
That you can see. Okay.
You're able to see along his upper body probably a half dozen of these little marks. The
Quite a
two
few.
here, obviously one on his forearm here, and then
Bicep.
like one by his gut. There's one on the back of the nape of his neck.
Mhm.
There is
On his bicep.
on his bicep. Yeah, plenty of small ones around, but none as prominent as the two on his chest.
I am going to put my jacket on the ground, and I'm going to see how many tattoos he lets me find.
Whoa.
Heyo!
McCree and Fvenhaven go walking by. No.
Yeah.
Fvenhaven just no.
Kara's too busy in her room playing with her chemistry set.
We were out like hunting and stuff, looking
Hunting
for
early in the
talking
morning.
mushrooms.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
In this moment, as GS begins this,
Yeah.
Cliff's head turns to the sky. And softly will say, I'm willing to take up arms for you, for the things that we believe in. Just as willing as I am to lay down my life. But if I could just get one day to remember how he laughed, I'd appreciate that a lot. And as I do, I'll turn back and look off to that headstone in the distance. Love you, Dad. Always will. And then back to GS. As slowly Cliff will take his time telling GS, likely for hours under this tree, the story of each curse, how he collected it, each one and what it does, and the vulnerability in that. There are some that are like Curse of Spoiling, where it's just makes booze taste awful. And then there are others, like Famine or Trauma, where he holds on to them really closely and tightly. Even though they cause pain or negative effect to him, it's like mementos or like a teddy bear to him, something that he can latch onto and cradle for real.
With everyone, she is going to use the fullness of her insight and be gentle and kiss all of them. Just this is a part of you, at least for now, for better or for worse. And I love all of you, and I love and accept all of this. And then when we get to the one, is this the one that made you fart when you kissed me?
Yeah, so I have two that are pretty close to my butt. I've got one
I
that
poked
is
it and I
directly on the left cheek, which is just, it looks like a puff of gas.
Mhm.
And then I've got one that is technically on his right thigh. It's just decently high up on the right thigh. That is that previously described mountain peaky
Yes.
one that lays on him there.
I'm gonna smack the fart one.
Smart choice.
Cliff probably lets out a little too. It's a little surprising.
And through laughter and tears and giggles and vulnerability, GS is just gonna keep loving him and give him the opportunity to do the same, if you would like.
After each curse has been seen and explored and talked about, Cliff will embrace GS fully and just all of the love that he's been unable to express for this town and its people and the people around him. He'll indulge and let out in this moment. Be close to GS and held by somebody that, at least for now, understands the burden that he's taken onto himself.
After a total of 10 of these curses are explained, and more importantly, emotion and vulnerability is shared within the afternoon, you are able to move back and regather yourself. Cliff, you're able to look back at the graveyard as a whole. Sort of take that in for a minute and hold on to them for a moment before moving back into the town proper for the day. Before you leave Fvenhaven for the next day, I'm assuming. Cliff, I would like for you to make me a Constitution save. I haven't made you do it every single night.
Yeah, hey, fair enough.
This one definitely feels like you gotta be there.
For tonight, it's an 18.
Well
Nice.
done.
That's because I kissed that one.
McCree and Thavana are sitting in the corner looking incredibly awkward when they enter back in, playing with the little toys and just like, no.
I have no clue that they saw anything.
Nope.
Now that it's
Just
clear.
very like, like those kids who wander into the, when parents are talking about Christmas presents or something, and you're just like, no.
Cliff, you're able to hold your stomach for the evening on this specific night better than you have in the past. And sleep does find you. And as sleep finds you, a memory sits just on the outskirt of your mind. You are in front of your old house and can hear talking on the inside. You hear Theron's voice. It's gonna be all right. You don't have to worry. The town will be all right. And you can hear the sound of a fairly young adolescent crying and sort of trying to breathe but catching as it seems like they're holding in tears that they can't control. The door is partly ajar. Is there anything you do, Cliff?
Through a shaky breath, I'll go and peek the door open and slip in if that's an allowed action.
Yeah. You open the door and can see a teen sitting near the bedside of a man, one you know very well. Theron's voice from the bed. It's okay. Don't cry. Everything will be fine. And you're seeing the back of your own head as he grabs a younger version of you, your hand. You hear as this moment begins to pass, that young voice crying, pleading, reaching out for some kind of help. Can you make me an insight check with disadvantage?
Anytime. I'll just roll 2 natural 20s again. Don't even stress it.
I know, right?
Not quite that good. 9 this time.
Oof.
You watch this memory shift slightly as what comes over you in this moment feels like light and begins to morph and change and move around you in a sort of thorny briar that envelops you in a way. And you know, even though you're seeing the back of this younger self, you know where those briars end up. As you see this and hear the crying, it starts to become too much to you. And you turn your head towards the door to leave. And next to the door is a sword. And that's where you wake up.
Okay.
As you wake up to move for the next day.
Cliff will gather his shit, put it all in his bag, and join the rest of his allies.
Excellent. You say goodbye to the people of Fvenhaven. Them giving you good supplies on your trip out. And as you move away from Fvenhaven, where are you headed?
That's a good question. Are we heading... Where are we going, guys?
I imagine at some point over the week that we were in Fvenhaven, there would have
We
been at
had
least a
that
night where we
conversation?
discussed what the plan was after.
Sure.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of this out of game to prepare, so we didn't need to spend all of our time figuring out where we're going. And I think we decided as a party that between the two main choices right now of to the north to help the dragons and scout out more of their young and things, or to go to the west to Durin and learn more about the Adreath and see Jasper again, and also gain more information for the Empress. That
We should probably check in with her.
Check in with the Empress on the way, but that
Sounds good.
heading to the west was...
And also, fingers crossed she doesn't want our head for what we've done in Remest. We'll see.
We'll find out.
We did give a little bit of heads up, you know, up the blade, down the blade, you know.
Sure.
We're hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Excellent.
I figured something
So we're headed to Jubilee
something
first?
we do in transit. Or we
Okay.
Perfect.
like hitting Ravrine and talking up the blade or down the blade, however that works again. But forewarning of we're gonna be heading your way. We're making our way.
Yep.
We are making our way. You cross west over the river, hit Ravrine to say hello, to send word before you get there, and slowly move south down to the capital of Jubilee to meet with the Empress as you enter into Jubilee, a vast metropolis that is so different from where you just came from.
Oh boy.
This travel took most of the rest of the time of this downtime, a week and a half to get there. You move into the city, people talking immediately. There's vendors shouting and whatnot. As you look into the vastness that is this city, you can see it almost tears up in the center, up towards the castle, which sits centerpiece to this vast city. You move to the castle and are able to speak with some of the guards there. After them understanding and knowing who you are, you're brought into an antechamber, a waiting room of some kind, where it takes quite a bit of time of sitting in here before two figures enter. One is the Empress herself.
Oh shit.
a high elven female, long ears, long features, very light, almost white hair, braided into braids down, wearing a red gown that is formed perfectly to her figure, with sort of intricate pleats and folds along the the sleeves that move all the way down. This floor length gown. And moving in with her is a human looking male, dark hair, sort of shoulder length, half pulled back, a short but full beard, wearing leathers, has a sword at his side. You know this figure to be Ulrich. They enter into the chamber. Ulrich shuts the door, locks it, and stands back against the door as the Empress moves in, places herself on one of the seats within the room, looks to you, and says, "Illuminated Outcasts."
Your Grace.
Do you mind telling me why my brother is so angry with you? And that is where we're going to take our break.
Ah!
You better figure out what you're going to
Fuck you.
say.
I mean,
to
you can let
an
Fvenhaven
empress.
answer it. It'll
Fuck.
be real blunt and short.
We will be
I was gonna say the
right
entire time we
back.
were stewing, Car is sweating.
Sweating. You're not sweating, you're sweating now. We
Ah.
will be back in a few moments to see how this all plays out. We'll see you in a few.
All right.
Bye.
What is up, geeks? It's good to have you back. Before we took our awesome little break here, the Illuminated Outcasts have moved into the capital city of Jubileane to speak with the Empress, who has pulled them aside into a quieter place, along with a trusted figure who has locked the door, and she has asked, why is my brother angry with you?
Your Grace, did you receive our letter?
I did. It spoke of what everyone is now referring to, the Day of Colors.
Yes. You had us go to the mines, the Moldor mines. We did. And there was a cult there that were trying to release what we now have found out as the dragons.
Have we found out that they're actually dragons? You
Yes,
state them as dragons.
We have met some of these dragons. And that brings us to why your brother is angry, because one of them found us and said that he would raze Ramest to the ground if we did not return to him what was his. We, through discovering, we found out that the fruits of Ramest, the giant stones that your brother has prized so much, are actually dragon eggs, his young. And there was no time to communicate with you. We've only had letters from animals if we were close enough. We would love to be able to. I just now have gotten a spell that can allow me to communicate over long distances. At that time, we did not have the capability. So we did not have the ability to communicate with you and receive counsel. Our choice was let Ramest be razed to the ground or return the fruits to the dragon. And after having a conversation with your brother, we thought it was that he would not give us what belonged to the dragon, for he thought it belonged to him. And so we decided to just steal them. And we did, and we returned them to the dragon. And now the dragon is an ally of ours. Just as people do not always agree, the dragons do not always agree. Through our travels, we have found that some of these dragons can be allies, can be good, and are on our side. Some of them, like this dragon Alduin, who is very powerful, would be on our side or not, depending on how we ally ourselves with him. And then there are others that are looking forward to the return of Tiamat. And the dragons that we have met and have allied ourselves with are against Tiamat and her ilk. The dragons will war.
Just as you say, people can be allies. But dragons, you can see that she sort of looks down and is contemplating what you've said. Can you please make a persuasion check?
Is she looking down, like just thinking, or is she looking at a specific location?
She's looking down like she's thinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a 15.
15. She looks down and is contemplating. Dragons. Much like people, I think dragons can also be deceitful. Who's to say you weren't played?
I believe Fvenhaven can speak to that. She has quite an intimate relationship with this particular dragon.
I was in his head. Or he was in mine. We were in each other's. I don't think he was lying. Actually, GS was in my head. There's a lot of people in people's heads.
I was able to tag along with the help of some choice herbs to listen in, and but the connection that Fvenhaven and Alduin have is strong, and it's hard to deceive.
To be fair, based off of how far he had infiltrated into the city, he probably could have just done it himself and maybe killed a few. I don't think he thought we'd be successful, to be very, very honest. Like, I didn't actually think we would be for a second.
How does a dragon infiltrate a city?
He went by the name General Alduin, and he looked humanoid. When we found him outside of the city, where he told us to meet him.
A shapeshifter.
Many dragons have that ability, apparently.
Yes. I've heard.
Wasn't your family, like, linked to the dragons or something? Doesn't that mean...
Are you saying this out loud?
Oh yeah, she's full on like
Good.
she's just,
Okay.
Fvenhaven
I
so
love it.
much.
I love it so much.
she has
Thank you
no
for being
social
bold as
grace.
fuck.
I love it so much.
The amount of
Filter
difference
who
between the two
she.
characters Joe has seen me play in the last 2 years.
Oh my god, everything that GS wants to say and is too afraid to say
Yep.
due to social
I
media.
You gotta
Fvenhaven
bring-
I
You gotta
spent
bring
2
someone
and a
into
half
it.
years. I spent almost 3 years playing the character that thought through every possible word she said. Nope.
Not with this one.
Word vomit. I love it.
Ulrich kind of steps forward away from the door a little bit at you, Fvenhaven. The Empress goes, I believe you are misunderstanding. My father dealt with the last of the dragons, banishing them from this realm for good. So to hear that they're back, to hear that you have had some sort of connection with them, to hear that you have stolen something to give to them in hopes that they can be befriended, and to hear that they can shift and look like any one of you. And she starts to look over every single one of you. Is nerve-wracking.
So is knowing that assassins can get into your throne room and try and kill you.
That's also nerve-wracking, but we have been somewhat dealing with that.
So you're saying that because your father banished all of them, Jess, I think I'm right on this if I remember the other stuff. All of them were bad, but really all of them weren't. But you could only banish the entire group, so he banished all of them. By that logic, shouldn't every being on the planet be banished? There's always bad ones.
Or
we made friends with a good one.
Banish them all.
We made friends with a good one who gave us a chance to not let an entire city of people die.
And how long do you think that friendship will last? How long do you think that trust can be taken?
As long as any other being can have trust for another.
I'm gonna look at McCree. Where is he?
McCree is next to your leg between you and Kara.
I'm gonna look at McCree and kind of thinking back to his and my conversation before. And sorry, I lost my train of thought because other things got said and never mind. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I had something.
If it comes back to you,
okay.
yeah.
Nope, it doesn't matter.
I'll look to the Empress.
Yeah.
Whether or not the trust is maintained, the fact is that Remest stands today still. Those people still have the ability to wake up and go to work and kiss their loved ones. If not for our actions, I don't know if any of them would have that chance.
Your Grace, the dragons do not all agree with one another. They were released. They will war amongst one another, and we will all be casualties, unless we can realize that we can befriend some of them and fight on the side of them. Then we will not be shrapnel in their war. We will be equal fighters with them against those that would see this world destroyed. They are citizens of this world just as any of us are. And I would argue, as a citizen of this world, if not an empress of one, that they have every right to live here. And those that would harm it, including the malevolent dragons that would follow Tiamat, do not. And those among us, any living beings, dragon or otherwise, that would be benevolent and would fight for the right of everyone to have an opportunity to live and have their young and have their free choice and free will and opportunity to communicate and decide with one another. Could we not all find an opportunity to find a common ground and work together against this threat?
Perhaps. Is this Alduin still in Remest?
I believe he is in the north.
We met him at the northern gate of the town.
He said that there were more of his young in the north, and he wanted us to go there to find more of them.
Since you have so many answers, tell me what I should tell my brother.
I will tell you what I told him. Your Excellency, please. We are as surprised at all of this as you are. Please consider, if we had any ill intent, why would we do anything in front of you? We have nothing but the best intentions of helping you save Remest. Please, Your Excellency, don't live in the shadow of the past. Forge your own future where you are remembered, not as the son of a great hero, but as the merciful and brilliant hero who saved Remest without any bloodshed. The peace you could forge could bring in a golden age. And you can also tell him that as we left the city, we spread word to every person we saw of the heroic deeds of His Excellency. that he willingly gave the ancestral fruits of Remest once he learned the truth of them in order to save the people, because the people of Remest are his true fruits. So now everyone in Remest sings nothing but his praises.
And while that's prettily worded,
We all have
it
our
still
skills, Your
looks as though your allegiances and loyalties might have shifted. Whether this is true or not is yet to be decided.
Your Grace, with the utmost respect, after we saved your life at the gala, which we were very graciously your guests at, we did tell you that when you entered us into this arrangement, and I am speaking meta of the Secret Blades, I believe is the name, that we would continue to follow as long as we saw that there was justice on the side of it. That is where our allegiance lies. We may be citizens legally of Midlendell. Some of us. Some of us may be citizens of Midlendell. Some
Kara
of
and
us are
Tavana
not.
just look.
No, Kara's
And
just
our
looking a little
allegiance
awkward.
lies to justice. And as long as you speak for justice, we speak for you. We would like to continue to do so.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check, please.
Ooh, scary words when we're in the room and the door's locked, man.
Yep.
I got you.
Natural 20!
Yes!
Nice.
Take a picture of that shit!
Woo!
Yes! Yes!
Oh my god! So,
Oh.
persuasion you said? So 26.
26.
Fuck yes!
She looks to the lot of you. Looks over to Ulrich. He sort of gives her a stern look, which she sort of copies onto her face. He thinks for a second and goes, very well. I would like something done. And please understand that this is helping me assure the trust that I have in you at the moment. We have been hearing rumors of an artifact that happens to be making people's wishes come true.
Oh no.
Some sort of soothsayer that's been changing people's lives. If you can find this soothsayer, see if they actually have some form of gift or talent, and what sort of artifact they're using that could be beneficial to the crown and to these people who live within Midlendell. perhaps the soothsayer is willing to use their talents and tools to help us.
They're not.
Well, I believe more in an official capacity, like the way you are.
And if they're not,
Find the information that you can about them, about the artifact they're using, and at least come back with that. But you're a persuasive bunch, so perhaps you can bring them back to the city. Ulrich kind of steps forward and goes, the last we heard, the soothsayer had taken up a tent within an outpost west of here, on our western border. It's a little outpost called Dust Forest. Our informant is a guard that stays there patrolling. Goes by the name of Darius Hahn. They've stated that this person is making quite a name for themselves and has a line at the beginning of every day to enter into the tent to have some fortune told or wish made. So, get us the info. Or better yet, get us a soothsayer.
God, what time of year is it?
It is autumn.
Autumn. Okay.
Autumn. You will be moving into, it's like the beginnings of autumn. You're not
Okay.
quite hitting winter yet.
But nights are starting to get cold.
Correct.
Cool.
Dust Forest is west-northwest of here. You can probably get there in maybe a day and a half's ride.
Understood. Before we leave, would you like updates of everything else that we have encountered? The manner of
Absolutely.
obelisks and things.
If you feel they pertain.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
with
cast
that, this
exposition.
is everything that
Cool.
we have aired. So check the VODs, friends.
Yes.
But quickly with the party, is there anything that we want to omit within our forays into the Feywild? And they don't need to know about the stuff with Macria. It doesn't necessarily pertain to them, but all of the stuff we found with the Abishai and the obelisks and all of that.
Kara would
gonna
offer up
tell-
the information about McCree anyway. She would offer that information up because it humanizes him.
Are you going to tell them about Newberry, who's just wandering the countryside now? Okay. Just making sure.
Kara's not. If somebody else does, but Kara's not.
I will say, if you happen to look over, Fvenhaven has gone, I mean, she's not terribly talkative normally in these situations anyway, but she's gone very still and is not messing with McCree, not doing the normal. She's just, yeah. So.
Cliff will make it abundantly clear to the Empress the description of the little guy and whatever kind of evil shit that was. Keep your eyes peeled because it was real intent on being here, and it's not.
I think he bit my arm
Yeah.
at some point. Still bite mine.
I also want to make sure we communicate about how Alsheen now has a Kyle, and Kyle is good.
That's
And
good.
Forgot about
and-
Kyle.
Yeah,
And
and
wrapping up with
Kyle.
Duriana.
share
Yeah.
about the marked ones and the
Oh, boy.
definitely the one who's imprisoned definitely would share about her. The fact that she was the leader of the cult and now she's in prison and all these things, but...
I believe we
details
would have
about that?
discussed omitting the marked ones and the ties to...
I think it would have already gotten back to her, though.
Possibly.
Because we called in the one...
That's true. That's
person,
true.
Yeah.
whoever that was, to
A
pass
baroness
judgment.
of the
Yeah.
area, yeah.
So, I mean...
definitely about the cult leader, I forget her name, and being imprisoned and how we were a part of making sure she was brought to justice, but we wouldn't necessarily talk about the rest of the marked ones. And the dragon that we met when we met Kyle.
It was the fruit of Romest. I just happened to turn to my note page.
Hey!
I don't remember the bronze
Lots of fruits
dragon.
this episode.
Do we remember his name?
I'm going further back. Back a ways.
Friuna?
Friuna.
Friuna?
Yuna.
Yeah, the one who was like, okay, Bard, tell us a story. That one, who seems to be benevolent, but definitely younger
Chaotic.
and less socially powerful within the Draconic hierarchy.
Very nice. You spend the better half of the day speaking, casting exposition, giving them all of the briefing that you believe that they would need. The Empress stays for some of it and then passes it to Ulrich to take the rest, as we know he is within the Secret Blades, a very secret group that works for the Empress and the family.
And the Empress is a very busy
be-
morning star.
Yes. To be sort of their MI6 in a sense. He takes all of the information that you have and says, right, perhaps head out at first light.
Of course.
Very well.
Would you like us to stay within the palace, or would you like us to seek accommodations otherwise in the city?
I
don't
wouldn't
wanna
want to
stay here.
impose you to stay within the confines of here. If you want to make sure that you get what you need and sleep well. And he heads to a spot within this room, opens up what looks like almost like a trap door situation, pulls out a chest, opens it up, and places some platinum in front of you and shuts it and puts it away.
We need to make the Empress's brother angry more often. We get platinum out of that.
Yeah, right?
Oh,
Let's
I
piss that
think
guy off
this
the
is. I
chance
think
we
this
get
is
now.
showing this is what the payment will be after the completion of the job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
He
Lifts a dry coin pouch.
this is great because
Is
I've got
thirsty
like
now.
4 gold left.
That's great. He pushes.
I got 44. I don't know what your problem is.
You also have more in the bag of holding, and I
he
have like
pushes
60.
one of the platinum towards you lot and goes, that should cover anything that you possibly need in this strip. And if you can get things handled, the rest of this will be yours. And you can see there's probably about 9 to 10 more platinum on the table.
Understood. Thank you, Ulrich.
I'll show you out. You are able to head out into the night of Jubilee.
And I breathe out for the first time in 5 hours. I cannot believe we survived that, and that we're not all in prison right now.
Why?
Staying on our good side for now.
Oh,
It was the truth.
God. It was the truth, but powerful people can. Okay, yes, find a place to stay.
Fvenhaven
You-
looks at Kara really confused.
If powerful people don't like something that you do, whether it's the truth or not, good or not, doesn't matter to them, they can still do bad things.
What was her solution that she wanted other than that? Her brother to be dead? I mean, to be fair, he's kind of a, ass, but
Yeah, but hindsight being what it is, she's still upset about... She can still be upset about it. I don't know.
I'm just gonna kind of bend down and like bury my head in McCree's fur and just kind of love on him and like, we're good, right, buddy? Yeah, we're good.
You are able to find a place to stay within Jubilean. You can stay wherever you'd like, whatever district you'd like. And someplace you've been, someplace you haven't.
I know, once we get, all checked in, I'm going to leave and acquire all the supplies we're going to need going west at this time
Fantastic.
of year.
It's fantastic. Absolutely.
I wish we had the time for sightseeing. I'd go to all my favorite places, but not this
I
trip.
just went to the handy dandy document. I was like, Jubilean. Oh, it's empty.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
have anything in Jubilee. It's too big.
Haven't pushed that in yet.
Wah, wah.
It is a huge city. You are able to stay the night within Jubilean and acquire what you need to. I will give you a bill on that later. And you begin within the first light, able to move off west out of the city. Most people not taking this road out of the city. It is not a well-used road by any means. As you begin to have your travel. Can one of you, please, while you are moving and having this travel, I need just one person to roll me a d20.
That sounds like a Kara thing to me.
Okay.
Okay. That is an 18.
Hey!
18.
Nice.
18 is actually the one on the list that says Ancient Red Dragon Attack.
Yep,
Mhm.
That's okay.
straight up.
It's probably my
Shut
great
up,
grandfather.
Travis.
We're good.
Grandpapa!
We got this.
No, here's what it actually says. It says that it's a nice, easy day of travel. However, in an asterisk and very, very tiny print, it does say a demi-lich is awakened, 2 countries over.
Yeah.
In comes the
Gotcha.
Trask.
Yeah,
Here
never
comes
know.
the Trask. It'll be here in
Oh.
2 months. Timer starts, bitches.
Hanging out with
You-
Tiamat. High five.
You get packed up and travel most of the day through. Kara, will you please roll me a survival check with advantage?
Okay.
Yeah, Kara.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Here's our map.
That's the man.
Get it.
Here it is. You said survival?
Survival, please.
That is a natural 20 for 28.
Yes.
There. Wow, you guys
Amazing.
have been nailing these nat 20s. Jeez.
Yeah.
A couple of nat 20s, a couple of nat 1s.
On
Today's
Kara's
been,
new
like,
personal
highs and
dice,
lows.
too.
I love it. You move out of the city, and what is not necessarily a rocky terrain, but more of a clay bedrock situation that Jubilean is kind of built around. It doesn't take but a few hours before it moves into desert. It moves into sands, and even with the wind sweeping up into your face, hitting onto your face and causing some of you to have a hard time just even seeing where
I
you're
see.
headed.
I start pulling out
Kara.
the scarves and teach you how to wrap up your face and pull out the sand goggles that are the sand shades, basically.
Mhm.
Being like, so you can
Kara
still
hands
see.
you appropriate things and knows
Starts
exactly.
pulling out the gear
which
for the
way to
horses
move.
too, so they can see.
That's awesome.
As you have traversed some of these sands before, moving the opposite way last time, but you were able to move around and move well into the day. And as you are talking with each other, Club doing much better, holding up and keeping up with everybody. Fvenhaven, McCree sitting in front of you, getting kind of big to be sitting in front of you. But still,
we did establish Club was the largest of all the horses too.
Uh-huh.
So, it's all right.
Club's the Clydesdale.
Pretty much.
Uh-huh.
Big old fuzzy feet.
Big old beefy feet.
Jerky being passed between the two of you. Some form of conversation that only you and McCree have, of half owlbear and half common being spoken and argued about. Halfway through this conversation, Kara, up ahead and towards your right, the sand and the dunes sort of shift a little bit and stop.
I stop the caravan of us, and I wait. We'll carefully get off and onto the sand, and move very carefully. Do a light stomp. What do I hear? No echo?
No echo.
Okay.
You slide a little bit more and move around. Can you give me an investigation check?
Yes, I can.
McCree looks up at you, Fvenhaven, and goes,
I don't find shit. I rolled a 4.
I was gonna say, Fvenhaven's gonna slide off the horse and tell McCree, just stay here with the other two. Hang on, and was gonna start to sneak forward as well, just to be near, a little closer.
Okay.
So,
Fvenhaven, can you give me a perception check?
I'm so good at these guys.
You got this.
Well, that was a weird journey. But it ain't great. An 8.
Oh
An
no,
8.
guys!
It was like on a 19, and then it was on a 16, and then it was on another, and then boop.
You move
this is how we die.
forward and shift
Quicksand.
a little bit and see over towards where Kara is. Sami following her movements and the walk and move that she's doing. The dune that she seems to be looking over at, unmoving.
What are we doing?
Trying to make sure that was just the dune, or if it was something other than the dune.
I could walk ahead and trigger it if it isn't, and then you guys could,
There are some things that even we don't want to deal with out here. There are some things even an entire chapter of my clan doesn't even want to deal with out here.
Bip, bip, bip. You hear McCree kind of calling out to you guys like, It sounds like a "Are we good?" kind of, question. Blip.
Just give my hand. Just hang on.
Car, as you look back towards McCree, from behind out of the sand comes something that begins to skitter and crawl and come out. That is where we're gonna end our
No!
Battle tonight.
We don't even get to see what skitters and creeps.
So wait, is
No.
it back behind us or is it like right in front of where Kara
It's
and
back
Fvenhaven are?
behind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's behind even McCree
Okay.
as it came up from behind McCree. So, oh man, we're gonna find out what just skittered out of the sand at you guys when we next play. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Supporting Roles. Will the Illuminated Outcasts be able to deal with whatever has come out to thwart them? We will
That's
find
fine.
out. And until next time, stay mythic out there, geeks.